So with that, we will move to the next bill, which is Assembly Bill 139. I believe I have Ms. Swank here on Assembly Bill 139, so we will open up the hearing on Assembly Bill 139.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Ways and Means Committee. My name is Heidi Swank. I represent District 16 in Southern Nevada, and I will be presenting Assembly Bill 139, a bill that would create dual language immersion in elementary schools in Nevada. Just before I start, I believe there's going to be some folks who are going to come up in opposition to this bill, and I just want to get ahead of that at this point. This in no way tries to eliminate English from our schools or diminish anyone's ability to speak English. Has absolutely nothing to do with getting rid of English. So I just want to be very clear at the beginning. All right, so during this past interim, the Legislative Committee on Education received a presentation from Greg Roberts, who actually presented this in education with me. He's the dual language immersion specialist with Utah State Office of Education. The committee learned how this program is provided through the elementary schools in Utah, how it teaches all subjects, half in English and half in a foreign language chosen by the school community, and how it has a positive impact on student achievement, behavior, and attendance. The committee was also interested to hear that the program is relatively inexpensive and that it expands the pool of available teachers beyond the U.S. borders because it requires teachers whose native language is not English. And given our statewide teacher shortage, this is a significant benefit. I think we all understand the economic benefits that come with speaking multiple languages. Students in Utah who complete a full dual language immersion program in supplementary secondary classes can graduate high school just a few credits shy of a college minor in a foreign language. Utah currently offers 5 language options for its dual language immersion schools. There's also a growing body of research showing substantial cognitive benefits for young children who receive bilingual education. Clearly I need to work on my English. Immersion students typically develop greater cognitive flexibility, demonstrating increased attention control, better memory, and superior problem-solving skills, as well as an enhanced understanding of their primary language. Immersion students also demonstrated increased cultural sensitivity because they are more aware of and show a positive attitude toward other cultures and people. These English language learners possess a skill that many of their peers are pursuing and can serve as mentors in this regard. So it seems that the dual language immersion model should be an option, especially at our Zoom schools. So this bill requires that the State Board of Education prescribe by regulation guides for the establishment of an optional, and I want to emphasize optional, program of dual language immersion in public elementary schools. The regulations must, and there's several things that they must do, require 50% of all coursework in each participating grade to be taught in a language other than English, establish a list of foreign languages that may be selected, and the Department of Education is required to explore the feasibility of including American Sign Language as one of the options. And that's the $50,000 fiscal note that's attached to this bill. Establish the process by which a school may select a language for its dual language immersion program. And really the intent here is to try to get involvement from the community and the staff as to what other language they would like to see taught in their schools. And require an elementary school establishing a program to provide an option of English-only instruction for families who do not wish to participate. So this can be, it's really up to the parents if they want to be part of the dual language program, if they want their kid in there, if they would rather have their kid in the English-only program. The bill also requires the Department of Education to create a competitive grant program to enable up to 30 schools to start a dual language immersion program, 20 in Clark County, 7 in Washoe County, and 3 in the balance of the state. The department is also required to develop performance and outcome indicators to measure the effectiveness of these programs and submit an annual report to the governor and to this body. Finally, AB 139 appropriates sufficient funding for the department to hire 2 part-time staff to manage the program. Also, $300,000 for grants of approximately $10,000 each to participating schools, and an additional $300,000 for program support services such as teacher recruitment, professional development, and other technical assistance. So these dual language immersion programs have emerged as a low-cost, high-impact option for elementary schools, and Utah has been leading the way. Utah has only 3% of the United States K through 12 students, but 80% of those students speaking Chinese because of the dual language immersion programs they have in their state. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions the committee might have.
Thank you very much, and we'll basically look at the sections that have the dollars in them. So section 4 for the 2 part-time positions, I guess that's pretty much what those positions would actually be. How did you come up with 2 positions?
And I think they were trying to be very conservative on how many people would be needed to run it. So I think the 2 was kind of the minimum people thought. Again, this came out of the Legislative Committee on Education. I did not sit on this committee, but I'm happy to get any additional information if you would require that.
Okay, and if you have anyone here that you would like to have come to the table to possibly help answer the questions on Section 5 or 6, looking at the appropriations, I guess when I look at $300,000 for the actual grants and then $300,000 for program implementation, I'm trying to figure out how we came up with those numbers, how we weigh that. Usually the implementation is less than the actual grant, so I just want to make sure that we've got the correct numbers here and that we're putting the right dollars in the right category.
Thank you for that, Assemblywoman Heidi Swank, for the record. And I believe, as I was told, this is just an estimate at this point to kind of get an idea based on what Utah did and how much it costs for their implementation. I can get more detail for you if you would like, but I believe it was based on those numbers in Utah.
That would be very, very helpful. And then if you wanted to address the American Sign Language issue, when I read the bill, I didn't think of it as applying to sign language. I know we already do that in some schools and in some programs, so if you could address that, please.
And this has actually been kind of a discussion in foreign language studies, I'd say, across the nation as to whether or not the American Sign Language kind of counts as a foreign language. If you look at the syntax of American Sign Language, it does have a lot of the same characteristics as a foreign language. It does have a writing system, which is also usually a requirement for that. As far as the $50,000, it's not established in Nevada. I know that this is something that I'd say 10 years ago that UNLV looked at and did not come to a decision on whether or not it counted as a foreign language. So there would need to be a study to establish if this could count as a foreign language. I would say, as someone, it's kind of my area of expertise, I would say that it is definitely, it meets for me, from what I know of language, all the requirements, but I understand the Department of Education would want to do a feasibility study to make sure.
Okay, thank
They
you.
weren't going to just believe me, I think.
So, committee members, questions of Ms. Swank on Assembly Bill 139? Seeing none? Oh, Dr. Titus, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I apologize. I wasn't in the Education Committee. But I did review all the testimony and hearing on this, and I know we can't get into the policy of it, but I need some clarification and just a quick. The wording of the bill, it says that the state board shall prescribe these regulations, and I understand that's a must, but it's a voluntary establishment, a choice by school districts if they accept that. Is that just a clarification for me?
Thank you for that question, Assemblywoman Heidi Swank, through you, Madam Chair, to Assemblywoman Titus. Yes, so the department must establish the program, but then it's a grant, it's a competitive grant process by which these elementary schools get the money to help establish the program.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for the question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Do we have other people here in support of Assembly Bill 139? Good morning. Introduce yourself for the record, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the record, Lindsay Anderson, representing the Washoe County School District, here in support today of AB 139, like we did in the Policy Committee. And I haven't been before your committee very much yet this session. I'm sure will be more. But just wanted to take the opportunity to say that I'm here in support for two main reasons. The first, you've touched on them a bit. The first one is that it's optional for schools to opt in. So schools that have an interest in this can also make that decision about whether or not they think this is a good fit for them. And it has an appropriation. So that's not very common in a lot of education bills, the optional and the appropriation. So I wanted to take the opportunity to support it here today. And we do have a couple of schools in the Washoe County School District that currently have dual immersion programs. So we believe that we can build off the successes of those schools.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Nicole Rourke, representing the Clark County School District. And we appreciate the appropriation. We have done dual language programs in our district in the past. They do require additional support in terms of professional development and planning curriculum. And so we appreciate the opportunity to apply for a grant. We have schools that may be interested in this process as they look to planning with their school organizational teams. And we find that to be a valuable process as they look at that planning. So we look forward to participating in this process. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Please go ahead.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, my name is Ruben Murillo, President of the Nevada State Education Association, representing over 40,000 educators across the state. Speaking in support of AB 139, we want to thank Assemblymember Swank for bringing this forward. We know that in order to prepare our students for a global society and a work-ready workforce, speaking a second language is very, very beneficial. I grew up in a dual immersion program, not in a school, but at home. And when it comes to the issue of whether it's English, eliminating English, growing up speaking two languages, English is my dominant language, Spanish is my second language. And so I believe that offering this opportunity for our students, that it is optional, is a way for us to prepare our students for to be better productive in society. Thank you.
Please go ahead.
Good morning. I'm Carmen Andrews from the Clark County School District. However, I'm speaking as a parent today in support of AB 139. I had the great fortune of having both of my children participate in dual immersion program in the Clark County School District at McDaniel Elementary School. I put them on a zone variance in order to have them be able to take part in that program. My eldest benefited greatly from the program. My youngest, unfortunately, the program kind of started to fall apart for lack of support, so he did not get the same enriched experience that my eldest did. My eldest then went on, he speaks Spanish and English. He went on to take Russian in high school. So you're already seeing the benefits that this is going to provide as they move forward into college and into the workforce. My eldest is also in the EMT program at Rancho High School in the Clark County School District, and he can use those Spanish skills to talk to people. He went on a ride-along recently and was able to talk to people that otherwise he would not have been able to help communicate, to be able to help them in their time of need. So I just would urge you to support AB 139. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have anyone else either here in Carson City or in Las Vegas in support of Assembly Bill 139? Seeing none, those in opposition of Assembly Bill 139? Any opposition? Seeing no opposition, anyone in neutral of Assembly Bill 139? Seeing none. Any closing remarks? No closing remarks from the sponsor. I hope we would just like to be able to pin down these numbers a little bit better as we move forward. This will be something that will be discussed a little bit later on when we start to close things up. So if we could get little less squishy numbers, we would be very grateful for that. So with that, we'll go ahead and close the hearing on Assembly Bill 139.